Gruesome Magazine.
Hello, welcome back. I am Doc Rotten, and this is Gruesome Magazine, where we review the very latest in streaming and video on-demand horror movies. Each week, my co-hosts Jeff Mohr, Crystal Cleveland, Dave Dreher, and I will take a look at very spooky, scary, and gory genre offerings. Tonight, we are reviewing Synchronic, streaming now on Netflix. And I watched it on 420, but it still didn't mean anything that I was hoping. Ba-dum-bum.
Oh.
All right, let's find out.
I forgot about 420. I was like, wait, what's that? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that felt like a lip balloon. All right, also joining me is the one and only Jeff Mohr. Jeff, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. I always love it when we do a Benson and Moorhead film.
You do, and they've made some of our favorite films in the past few years, right?
Mine?
Yeah.
Jeff, you sound so angry right now. Like that.
All right. Also joining us is Crystal Cleveland, the Living Dead Girl. How you doing?
I'm well. I am.
How well are you?
I'm anxiously awaiting. So, okay, I don't even care. So I had my first shot at directing. I'm going to talk about it this weekend. And so it's my first time ever directing something. And then I come and I watch this movie and I kind of hate these guys now.
No.
And it's not even about the story. I'm just saying what they did with some of the stuff. I'm like, I guess that's all right if you like that kind of stuff.
Oh my. Oh, how interesting. All right, also joining us, rounding out the crew, is the one and only Dave Dreher. How you doing, sir?
Hey, this movie sucks.
Oh!
There we go.
Oh well.
Daggers.
This will be a
Okay,
big rating.
this is gonna be interesting.
Oh, wow.
Interesting.
Thank you and good night. What we're going to be doing is we're going to review this film. We're going to give our first impressions. We're going to talk about it for a bit. We might spoil it during that time. We might not. This one would probably do good not to be spoiled. And then we're going to wrap things up with our final thoughts. Our score 1 to 5, and we've seen Dave enough. 1 to 5, and our favorite scene. Oh man, what film are we talking about? We're talking about Synchronic. From Moorhead and Benson. Yes, it's available now on Netflix. Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead directed. Writer is Justin Benson. The cast includes Anthony Mackie. You know that name. The Falcon himself. Jamie Dornan. Katie Aselton. Ali Ionnides. Ramiz, Monsef, and Bill Oberst Jr.
Did you just put him in there because he was in it?
Yes.
He's so good. I love Bill.
He was great. Yes, and
he's fabulous.
The synopsis is 2 New Orleans paramedics' lives are ripped apart after they encounter a series of horrific deaths linked to the designer drug with bizarre, otherworldly effects in only the way Benson and Moorhead can do such a subject. So let's tackle this. Let's give our first impressions. Of course, I'm going to be starting with Benson Moorhead's biggest fan, the one and only Jeff Mohr. Sir, what was your first impression?
Moorhead.
Ooh. Wow.
What is happening tonight? What is going on? I don't even know who you people are anymore.
This is me doing dad puns or grandpa puns even. So I know I may be alone tonight, but I love these guys. I absolutely love these guys. The first few movies they did were some of my, especially Spring and The Endless, were in my top 10 those years. And I think this one might be too. I actually, just so you already know, they use a really weird marketing model because they don't usually get wide release theatrical, and it doesn't, I don't know, it's just weird. Like, I already own the Blu-ray to this, and it's just now hitting streaming services. It came out, I think, was it Fantasia like a year and a half ago, Doc? I think was
this is
towards the beginning of the debut. But so, and the thing that I like about it is, and Doc mentioned this off the show, pre-show, and it hits me where I like them. It's goof. It's what the F, and as far as the plot, it's hard to, at least for me, the first time I saw it, it was hard to figure out first what the hell was going on, but I was intrigued. And watching it again here, I liked it even better when I watched it the second time around. I like the actors. Jamie Dornan is great. I saw him in a British series called The Fall with Gillian Anderson about she's a detective and he's a serial killer, and he was great. And I think he does a good job in this too. So I don't know. I just love the story. I absolutely love the story. I love the way they shot it. I felt like they used a lot of weird camera angles and camera motion when they wanted you to be, somewhat when it was unsettling, what was going on, right? When we were getting into some of the thick of the what the F. Anyway, I like that a lot. So anyway,
big thumbs up. Big thumbs up from
I'm
Jeff.
ready. I'm ready.
All right.
I got my other thumbs up too.
Oh, nice.
So, okay. Okay. Here's the thing with this movie. I'm kind of torn. On the one hand, I think that the filmmaking is really interesting and fascinating. And there are some cuts in this movie that, a couple of them, not all of them, sometimes they used the same thing and didn't do it so effectively. Maybe they didn't have, I don't know. Anyway, I think the acting is phenomenal. I hate Jamie in this. Like, I want to bash his face in because he's such a selfish prick. And I mean, that's how we're supposed to feel about him. But I really, yuck, can't. Bill, oh my gosh, Bill was fabulous. He was
absolutely.
Also one that you just want to just beat the heck out of. And of course, we have our hero who is so wonderful and lovable, and it's a sad character. But I will say this, and I'm going to spoil something, because the moment you do something to a dog, you're dead to me. You're dead to me. You're just dead to me. So that might trigger people. Saying. There's a dog thing. Okay. Anyway, I'm a dog lover. But the story is interesting. It's different and it's unique. And at its core, it's really silly. Just such a silly premise. Like, it's ridiculous. And I'm not sure that it entirely worked because of that. There's a lot of beauty surrounding it. There's a lot of amazingness. But I just don't know if the story resonated with me the way that it should have. Mm-hmm. But I also don't know if I cared all that much. I mean, it was pretty and it was nice and it was entertaining, but it feels like it wanted to be more than what it was. And I don't know. I wish I could point out what the fail was, but it seems like a lot of the story was lackluster in some of it. I feel like they could have done more with the creator of whatever this is, and I don't want to give anything away, more than I just think that I think it fell in some spots, and I don't know if it was enough to salvage it. I mean, being a pretty movie isn't everything.
It isn't everything. All right, Dave. Well, do we need to hear from Dave? No, we don't. No,
Dave, really don't.
He's like poop turn.
This movie lost me early on. I actually tried to watch this thing 3 separate times.
Oh my!
And I just could not. I mean, I just didn't care about this as much as it's a Jeff Mohr movie. This is an anti-Dave movie. I could find nothing in this to even attempt to hold my attention. I don't know what it was about. I don't know why I should care what it was about. I thought that the redeeming thing for me was the Anthony Mackie, because I really do like him from the Avenger movies. But I even felt his performance in this was very lackluster and downplayed.
Really?
I don't know if that was on purpose or if it was just my refusal to want to accept this movie. I don't know, but yeah, I tuned out quick on this one, and I really did. I gave it the old college try 3 times, but I honestly, I don't know what I watched. I have no idea what I watched. So you're going to ask here in a little bit for a favorite scene, and I honestly don't have one because I don't know. I just don't know what this was supposed to be, why it was made, what they were trying to tell us. I don't feel like the journey ever started. I mean, we meet the 2 people in the bed, right? And they pop the little pill thing, and the guy gets on the elevator and has some weird jungle dream or whatever. And I mean, and then in walk the paramedics, and then I was just like, what's going on? Where am I? Why would you? I don't know what's happening. Oh my God, I'm so stupid. But it just lost me, and I couldn't find my way through this one.
Yeah, it wasn't entirely linear at first, and I think that I think it was intended to set you unease, but it had a similar effect to me where it kind of lost me. I feel you, Dave. I feel you. So for me, I do enjoy Moorhead and Benson and Moorhead films. The Endless is really, really a strong film. And I'm really excited to see what they do with Moon Knight. They're doing that next for Disney and Marvel. So that's going to be interesting because Moon Knight will lend to their particular talents and the way they approach.
What are you saying? Moonlight?
Moon Knight with a K.
Moon Knight? Is that a comic?
Yes, it's a comic book. Yep.
Character?
Yep. So it's going to be
okay, but what about this movie now? Come on.
All right. So
Doc, what are you doing here? Okay.
Well, it was just throwing.
He's trying to be nice. He's trying to be nice.
I'm like, and this movie.
But this one, there's a number of reasons why I didn't quite get on board with this. I did not think the directors brought really great performances out of the actors in this. Somebody said that Anthony Mackie was a little flat, and I thought he was here too. I really like Anthony Mackie, and I think he's the best thing in the film. But at the same time, like you mentioned the dog, like I thought that the whole, he loved that dog, and something happened.
Why would he do that, right?
Right, and then,
why would he do that? Let me tell you, the moment that I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Like, there's no other thing you could get besides your sweet, loving puppernutter doji. Go to hell. Like, I agree with you because I'll tell you, I understood the concept of what he was doing, but I could not accept what he decided to use. That is asinine. It's ridiculous. That's why I said the whole story is silly. The whole thing is silly. It's ridiculous and silly.
Yes.
I mean, the concept of it is silly, and he just happens to have some sort of tumor which keeps his.
Yes, and it's I struggled with it, and I really disliked the ending. The ending, whatever I did like, the entire ending sunk it for me.
Really, because it was sad.
No,
but
no, it wasn't.
Oh,
it was. Okay, so there is a point where I'm on board. It's after I'm still on board when Bill Oberst Jr. is there, and it's all tense about timing because they've established the timing. Sorry, I'm giving away some of the ending, but then something happens, and then they have a little bit after that, and then it lost me. I totally did not like that.
you mean like the same thing with the dog?
Yeah, exactly. So I just...
Well, it didn't make sense because technically no one was touching anything, because with the dog, was kind of explained that it was like a leash issue or something.
Right, and it was interesting because of they did make a correlation with it with the chair that was up on the if he touched the chair he could make it out. But so I get the idea what they were going for, but I just wasn't on board with it. It just rubbed me the wrong way. But I will say that there are so many concepts in this that I really like. I like the idea of the explanation about the record, right? This is time. It just depends on where you put the needle.
I
right?
wouldn't give too much away there. Yeah, I get that.
I mean, it's a couple years old. But anyway, I there's concepts about this I really like, but I don't know. I mean, I like what they did with Endless much better. And because they tackle this, these time things quite a lot in their films. It's one of their themes that they like to hit. And I'm not sure does this suffer because I'm comparing it to the Endless? Maybe.
I don't know. You do seem to talk about another movie instead of focusing on this one, though. I'm just saying, like, I'm just trying to, I think you're trying to, I'm just trying to figure out, like, why. Maybe you really dislike this more than what I thought.
Well, Jeff needs to get in here and tell us why we're wrong. Jeff, what you love this film, and I respect that because I understand. I mean, when I saw it, I knew you loved this film. But share with what I know you're looking at me going, no, Doc, you are so wrong about everything. But tell me, share why that is.
There's no point in trying to convince people that have an opinion about a movie because it never changes. So I
don't
think
want you to
Crystal's completely wrong. It makes perfect sense to me, but we'd have to spend a half an hour talking about it. I don't think the first time I saw it, I thought too, this is not as good as Endless, and it's not. But the second time I watched it, I liked it a lot more. So I think Anthony Mackie was playing the character he was supposed to play. That guy
I think he was perfect too.
Was sort of washed out and emotionless and beat down, right? And then he was living a life he didn't like, etc. So I think that's where he was going. And same with Jamie Dornan.
I think all the acting was perfect. I don't have a problem with any of that.
I love all the stuff the directors did. I love the cinematography, the switches like that. I'm kind of a sucker for not giving too much away. I don't think. I'm a sucker for movies that have time built into it. And my thinking about this is that basically. And this is going to sound familiar to Doc, but basically, I don't know how this could happen, but I also know I have no idea how the human brain works and what are the physics and the science and the chemistry of a thought, a thing that I'm thinking out here. What creates that, and what else? And when I don't understand that, and I would argue that science doesn't really understand it. They talk about electrical charges and things like that, between the neurons, but still, how do you get this? They talk a little bit about it on the last movie we had, but like the ideas of soul and thought and things like that, those are beyond science. And so when they start doing stuff like this, I have no problem diving in and just finding it interesting to see a different take on it. And I've seen other stuff like this about the pineal gland, so that didn't seem really whacked out to me at all.
Yeah, I think of what's that? The H.P. Lovecraft film about the pineal gland, Dave.
Oh yeah. From
Beyond, yes.
From Beyond, yep.
That's what I always think. It's like, what are you gonna do? Don't bite it off. I was like.
So anyway, and that's okay if you don't like it. That's fine too. You guys like movies I don't like, so
I didn't dislike it. I disliked the story a lot, though.
I love the story.
But I mean, I like I said, I talked about it before we started. That single continuous shot when they're inside the crack house is amazing, and then I mean, my favorite scene is going to actually be one of their match cuts that they used. So, like, the filmmaking itself is honestly quite incredible. They had an upside down shot, and I didn't hate it. I should hate it, but I didn't hate it. And so that's why I'm like, okay, the movie itself is really pretty amazing. Like the cinematography and the way it's shot. And I, like I said, I think the acting even was phenomenal. I loved all of them. I mean, I felt like you hated who you wanted to hate and you sympathized with who you should. So that worked for me. I just did not like, for me, it was all about the story. I was just like, I was like, I believe Einstein, where we can only travel into the future, but not into the past. That's me. That's my personal, and technically, however, I'll find it way more plausible that we could do that if it wasn't the way it was done in this movie. Because I think that's what's so silly to me. I'm like, oh, okay.
Well,
I guess I wish there was more to that because it just seems silly. And just the whole idea that it's like, oh, lucky you have cancer, and lucky you, that's what's going to help you save. It's just all too convenient. I feel like it's lazy writing, personally.
Ouch.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm not trying to be too much of a jerk, but that's,
I disagree.
No, he does.
of course, there we
He
go.
does disagree. Now, of course, they do take some time to kind of give us a found footage kind of feel when he's recording how he, does the travel. So I gotta love that. And
See, and those are concepts
Little
that
bit,
I found really cool.
yeah.
That's what's so hard. It's just at its core, I just could not believe it.
When he shows his friend finally, and he's like, "What?"
Yeah. And even the cut into that was so short, it's almost like it would feel abrupt, but I believed it. So I think, like I said, the actors did a good job to me.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go ahead and wrap this up. Let's give our final thoughts, our score, 1 to 5, and our favorite scene. But before we do, we want to thank you for hanging out with us, and we hope you're enjoying this review and many others that we have on the site. If you want to support us, it's easy to do and free. You hit the subscribe button or you share with a friend, and that does us a lot of good. And thank you so much. You can also do the like button, the dislike button, even somewhere. Hit the bell if you want to be reminded. And we'd love to hear your comments. You can say whatever you want.
do.
I bet everyone's going to love this. Everyone's going to be like, everyone's going to love it.
I don't
Everyone
think
is
so.
totally going to. Oh, I do. Jeff, like it. I think a lot of people are way more superficial, and they'll just look at the quality of the movie and the actors, and they'll be like,
Oh, that sounds
5
insulting to me.
stars.
I know. It's gonna...
I'm not trying to be, but I just think that's a fact. Like, oh, God, I can be such a jerky boy.
Oh.
I'm not trying to be. I'm just.
Jeff,
I'll
get
shut
that,
up
get
now.
that knife out of your back. Get the knife.
Jeff's so smart. He knows. Jeff knows he's smart. He knows that he's the smart one here. So
No,
I mean,
no.
yeah,
No. We just all have different tastes, So
I bet, Dave, you probably will agree with me. I bet Joseph Fidos, Joey Fidos doesn't like this one.
Yeah.
No.
He won't like it. But Joseph Perry will.
Yes.
I don't know if he
Also
does
true.
or not. I have to ask him.
It'd be interesting.
I can see both sides.
He's been
I really
surprising
can.
me lately.
Has he? Yep.
Ooh.
All right. Well, let's get into this. Our final thoughts, our score 1 to 5, and our favorite scene. And Jeff Mohr, as you know, you, sir, are first.
This just hit all my buttons. So
All those buttons.
I liked it, and I'm giving this a 4.5. And
Oh yeah, he's.
since I'm first, I'm taking it
Take it.
because I love the Bill Oberst scene. It's gotta be the Bill
yeah.
Oberst in your scene.
That might be
I
like
mean,
the
there's
only
lots
thing
of other
we
scenes I
use.
could say, but I'm just Bill Oberst. It's just God, and he's in their first movie. He's in Resolution, too.
Is
and
he?
does an awesome job. Yeah, he's the French guy they run across in the shack, or maybe it's a mobile home back in the woods. Anyway,
Oh man.
he does great access. So
Yeah, he's a great guy. Great guy.
Well, so watch it. Don't listen to these guys. Or
I
me.
didn't say you shouldn't see. No.
But check it
No.
out for yourself. Yeah.
I never said
Well,
not
if
to
you're-
watch
even
it.
if you're
Oh man,
even
that
if you're
knife, that knife
superficial,
cuts deep,
even if
doesn't
you
it?
don't mind being
Oh,
superficial.
It is superficial. That is a fact,
you go.
according to Crystal,
No, it's
which
not.
is not a fact.
According to
Knives!
Crystal.
Look at all the
Okay.
knives stuck.
But
Dave's
but
off.
there's clearly no basis in reality or science in this movie.
I don't
at
think it
all.
wants to
Science
be.
No, I don't think it wants to be either. Any time travel movie isn't, but I need more to bite. I need more to believe. That being said, see, once again, I poop on something, but I'm not really. I'm giving it a 3.5.
No, nice.
Like,
No, it's
yeah, it's not. Just because I rip something apart doesn't mean that I don't like it. It just means that I expect better, maybe from the filmmakers or from what they have to work with or whatever. I always have my scale. If it's a low budget indie film, I base it on that. If it's not, well, I have higher standards. That's all.
This
My
is really
favorite
their
scene.
first film with known actors in it. So I would assume the
true.
first.
But if they
bigger-
worked with Bill,
somewhat bigger
Bill's
budget.
big. Bill's big. Bill's a big name. He's kind of a big deal, don't you think? I think Bill's big.
in our circles. In our circles.
in our circle, but not money wise.
Yeah.
I don't think. I don't know. And he had a bit part in that. So
But yeah, these are bigger. These are big names. But my favorite scene is so stupid, but I love it. I just could not stop. I actually rewound it. I know they use this Milky Way scene or this Milky Way shot multiple times, but there's a Milky Way shot where they use a match cut and it matches the highlights on the face. Like as I do the transition, it's a match cut, but it's not completely matched. It just matches the highlights. And I don't even think that they actually had those highlights actually there. I think they added them, but it worked so well. And I was like, that's good. It was beautiful. It's something silly, but I kept thinking about that shot. I was like, look what they did there. That's so good.
But does that take you out of the film? I don't know. All right, Dave Dreher, here you go, sir. Your 5 minutes of glory. What was your final thoughts? Your score and favorite thing?
For me, I kind of have to grade this on two different things and just kind of average it out because it's obviously a very well-made movie. Technically, it's very well shot and put together. So in that aspect, it's like a 3.5 for me, story-wise and plot-wise, and being able to follow what's going on. For me, it was like a 0.5 because I had no idea what the fuck was going on. I really didn't. And again, that's probably just admitting to my own ignorance. But and there was nothing in the movie that wanted to draw me along to try to figure out what was going on because I just didn't care. So you average those two things together, I'm gonna come out with a 2.25.
Okay.
But again, this
That's
is
higher
not
than I
one.
thought.
Yeah.
Well, again, you can't take away the talent that was behind it. You just can't. I mean, it's obvious when you're
That's
watching
fair
it
enough.
that these people are uber talented. They just happen to tell stories that I don't like.
Yeah.
So,
that's exactly. Yep.
That happens. That happens.
And that's no one's fault but my own. This is not something that I would recommend to anyone. I went like Spontaneous. I went into work and I'm like, everybody, man, you guys got to watch this movie, Spontaneous. It's fucking fantastic. This one won't even. I can't even remember what's it called again. Synchronic.
Synchronic.
Yeah. So this one. This would not even. This wouldn't have been on my radar if it wasn't for the fact that we talked about it here. So take that all into effect or all into consideration and react accordingly.
Well,
I really honestly
we
don't
all
have a
different
favorite scene.
opinions.
Yeah, don't
Yeah.
say you're too dumb. That's not,
It just doesn't appeal.
Dave and I know where we stand. We know where we are. It's okay.
That's it.
It's okay. We're all
So, all right. So as I
like
met,
here.
I am fans of Benson and Moorhead. I like their films. I like their style. I like their approach to themes and concepts, and they really get into them. This one just didn't work for me as well as previous films. It really is like Crystal and Dave were saying. The plot just didn't gravitate toward me, and if it gravitates toward you, you're really going to love it.
Yeah.
Jeff, for example, and I knew it watching it. Like Jeff and I have been reviewing films here on Gruesome for a few years now, and we've grown to know each other's taste. So this is very much a Jeff film, and I thought it was going to be a doc film too, but it just fell a little short. It just did some things. It made some choices that rubbed me the wrong way, and that's unfortunate. But they are choices. They're not accidents. They're not a flaw. It's just a choice that they made that I personally reacted a certain way. So I'm not a huge fan, but I do think if you're into these kinds of films, if you're into the heady sci-fi films that get into like time travel and explore these things and really commit to exploring it in the realm in which they want to explore it, I think there's a lot to get out of this. It is extraordinarily well made. These are great directors. Mm-hmm. I don't know if this film got the best out of the actors. You guys all say they did, so I'm going to default to that. I didn't feel their characters. I didn't feel like that their relationships were as big or as tight as they said they were. It was a lot of telling me, and I don't know if I felt it. And the dog thing really, I'm surprised that I'm not a dog person, but the dog thing rubbed me the wrong way as well. It's funny.
Yeah.
But yay, Bill Oberst. Oh my God, I was so happy. I did not know he was in it when he showed up. I
was like, wait, is that Bill? I didn't know he was in it. I thought it was like, and I had to look it up right away. I was like, oh my God. I was like, he's very good. He is good in everything.
He chewed that scenery up so well. And I mean, the simple thing of stepping around or over or something is, oh my God, it was such a great scene. Somebody took that shrimp. It was my favorite scene. But so in the end, I think if the ending would have been a little bit more, I don't know. I can't really say that because it's their ending. It's the ending they wanted, but it's not the ending I wanted to see. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I wanted something different. Not necessarily different, but I just wanted a different type of resolution. I wanted a resolution of some sort, and I wasn't happy about it. Well, I felt they left it open a little bit.
That's interesting. See, I didn't have a problem with that at all, but I find it interesting that you did.
Yeah, and again, that's all on me. It's all on and that's the interesting thing about film, isn't it? That we all kind of absorb it and think of it in different ways. So I'm really troubled because I think there's a lot going for this, but my experience wasn't that great. So I'm leaning toward a 3. But I'm feeling like a 2.5. So somewhere in there, maybe 2.75. Whoa. But right. Me too. Really too high or too low?
I'm surprised. I thought you would go a little higher.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, let's definitely go with a 3 then. So my favorite scene. Okay. Everybody here knows I love found footage, right? So when he records things happening and it feels very found footage, I was really all about that. So, and it feels like what somebody would do, hey, if you're watching this film, you're either, this or I'm dead, right? So, well, I like that.
So I'm surprised because, one scene that totally cracked me up was the snake bite when they had the animal control guy there. I thought that was a riot.
Oh, he was funny.
How he's like, no, it's venom, not poison. He's like, that's what I said. No. And I was like, yes. I was like, that sounds like some stuff I would pull. Even though I know I should keep my mouth shut, I'm like, no, you said poison and it's venom. I'm very certain of this. Very certain. And he's like, well, it wouldn't be that. I don't know. There's some good moments. That's why I gave it 3.5. You know,
There you go.
it's worthy. It's a worthy movie.
It's worthy. Except for Dave. All right. We want to thank you for hanging out with us this long. I hope you enjoyed this review and many others that we have. Crystal, Jeff, Dave, as always, thank you for hanging out with us.
Oh, awesome.
do the
Appreciate
Thanks
it.
for having us.
Yes.
Now, see, I
And
think
Crystal,
this was a good
you
one.
really need to talk to my wife before you call me smart.
Oh.
Oh.
Well, no, I have a feeling your wife is just even smarter, though. She seems so.
Well, that is true. That is absolutely
yeah. That's why I'm like, ooh. Oof.
No, she picked you. So she is smart.
Ew. That's all like, ew. That's. Are we girls now or what?
Is that too snappy?
Yeah. Well, she picked you, so she must be like super smart. Yeah. No.
No,
No, but that's true.
I don't condescend much at all, do I? All right. All right, let's say goodnight quick.
Good night.
good night, everybody.
Good night.
Gruesome Magazine.